Chael Sonnen just dropped a shocker on Ariel Helwani's show. Out of nowhere, he claimed to have insider info about not just when Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall is going down, but also where it's happening. For months, everything felt like chaos. People thought Jon Jones was done for good, disappearing into retirement. Even Tom himself recently told ESPN that he's moving on because Jones is retired. Ariel Helwani even reported that Jones refused a massive UFC deal to fight Aspinall. So what the heck is happening now? Well, Chael just flipped the entire story. If he's telling the truth, then all this talk about Jones retiring might have been fake, just smoke and mirrors, or maybe something major changed behind the scenes. Either way, fans are going wild again, and let's be real. This is the fight the UFC needs. Jones, the greatest of all time, versus Tom, the dangerous young force in the heavyweight division. This isn't just about a belt anymore, it's about legacy. It's about two worlds clashing in one epic showdown. People are suddenly acting like Jon Jones is already out of the picture. But come on, this is Jon Jones we're talking about. The man who beat legends, who could read a fight mid-round and adapt like a machine. He made killers in their prime look like amateurs. Yes, Tom is younger, faster, and incredibly complete, but Jones has been dominating for over a decade. Don't count him out just yet.
Now, prior to speaking to Tom, I also strongly felt from information that I could get, or maybe I even overheard at places, that Madison Square Garden, and most specifically November, and it was going to meet Jon's request, which was a very strange one when it came in, but he wanted 180 days from the day the bout agreement is signed. Why he dug his toes in, we don't know, but it actually would satisfy this. And so you bring up a great point that nobody's considering. Tom has a family and is a prize fighter and is not at the point in his career where we could just wait.
At what point do we move on? Because Tom's career is just hanging in the wind. The guy's young. He's last fought, in July. It was a 60-second fight. I think they're saving it for Madison Square Garden, and so there's no real rush to force Jon's hand. But Jon, everything he's doing would suggest that he is not coming back.
Now, shifting gears, Sean Shilga Ali is getting serious support ahead of his UFC 316 rematch with Merab Dvalishvili. This time, Dan Hardy has stepped in and he sees a clear path to victory for Suga. Yes, Merab overwhelmed Ali the first time with that insane cardio and constant pressure, but Hardy saw something crucial in the 5th round. Suga landed a front kick straight to Merab's body, and Merab was hurt. He backed off and glanced at the clock. That small moment showed weakness in Merab, and Hardy believes it's the secret key to this fight. Aiming for Merab's chin, Suga needs to go after his body. Hardy says Suga's front kicks and knees could drain Merab's cardio, his biggest weapon. Even fighters with endless stamina can't hide when they're hit in the gut. That pain sticks, it slows you down, it makes you hesitate. And in a fight where Merab needs to drown his opponents with non-stop volume, hesitation could be deadly. Hardy's not the only one thinking this way. More fans and analysts are starting to believe Suga has a real shot if he comes in with the right strategy and the will to push hard. This rematch could be completely different.
But I also feel like Sean O'Malley's going to feel like he needs to be more proactive in trying to find finishers. And because that last round went the way that it did, with the front kick to the midsection and Merab being hurt and looking up at the clock, that was a dead giveaway. The obvious target for Merab is his midsection. The obvious target on Sean O'Malley for Merab is his legs. For whatever reason, Sean O'Malley doesn't respond very well to kicks. I think part of the reason is because he's heavy on his lead leg, because that makes him very sharp at countering, but it also makes him a little bit stuck in the mud when it comes to defending low kicks. And also when kicks are going higher as well, he can kind of sometimes do odd things with his arms defending. So if I'm Merab, I'm starting with quite a fast pace. I'm not necessarily going to do much more than I did in the last fight, because I thought his pacing was really good. And I thought the ebb and flow that he'd worked into his pace, where, okay, I'm going to have a minute, I'm going to move, I'm going to give you the impression that something's going to happen, and then if you attack me, I'm just going to give you some space.
Meanwhile, things are heating up between Ilia Topuria and Team Khabib. Islam Mamedov, a close friend of Khabib Nurmagomedov and a Bellator lightweight, made a scary statement during an interview with Russian media outlet Armageddon. And he did not hold back. He was asked about Ilia Topuria's recent trash talk, and his answer, fire. You see, since Islam Makhachev moved up to welterweight and El Medora stepped into lightweight, Ilia has been running his mouth. He's called Islam a coward, accused him of running away, and even said if he fought Khabib, he'd drag him into deep waters and drown him. That's right, Ilia actually said that.
How does your team feel about Ilia Topuria's trash talk? You guys probably discuss it because Islam seems to respond to them, but at the same time, there's no clear reaction.
Islam's not interested in giving Ilia clout. He's not about to share the spotlight with someone who's trying to climb off his name. But I'll tell you this, there are a few guys in our team who are already out there looking for Ilia. They're watching, waiting. He better hope he doesn't cross paths with the wrong one, because some of these guys aren't gonna take his jokes lightly. He needs to understand, this isn't just banter. He's messing with a different culture, and if he keeps pushing it, he might end up learning a very painful lesson.
Do you see Islam returning to lightweight? How realistic is that?
Why not? Anything's possible. If Ilia does manage to win and become 2-division champ and Islam does the same, that's a huge fight.
Islam doesn't want to give Ilia any attention or fame. He's not going to let someone build their name by dragging his through the mud. But Mamedov made it very clear there are people in their circle who are paying attention. They're keeping tabs on Ilia, watching, waiting. He better be careful where he goes and who he meets, because one wrong step, one wrong encounter with the wrong teammate, and things could get ugly. Mamedov said loud and clear, Ilia needs to understand this isn't just banter. He's messing with a whole different culture, and if he keeps pushing it, the price could be painful. Now, the big question, will Islam ever return to lightweight? Mamedov didn't rule it out. He said anything's possible. If Ilia somehow wins the lightweight belt and Islam gets the welterweight belt, then you've got a massive champion versus champion fight on your hands. That would be an enormous moment for the sport. On the other hand, back at bantamweight, Sean Ali is still throwing shots before UFC 316. He's coming hard at Merab style, calling it what it is, finisher versus decisioner. But even with all that pressure, Sean Ali doesn't seem scared. In fact, he looks more fired up than ever. He's been training harder, posting clips of intense sparring sessions and throwing little jabs online. The fire in his eyes says it all. This fight means everything to him. And honestly, it's not just about revenge anymore. It's about proving to the world and to himself that he can beat the guy who once dominated him. That he's not just a flashy striker, but a complete fighter who can adapt, adjust, and overcome. And if he can pull it off, that win would be huge. It would change everything. Not just for his record, but for his future. Because let's be real, if he beats Merab, the doors to title fights, super fights, and maybe even champ status open wide. But back to Ilia Topuria, his situation is getting more dangerous by the day. He may have started this whole drama with just a few bold words, but now it's spiraling fast. The Dagestani camp, especially people close to Khabib, don't take things lightly. They live by loyalty, honor, and respect. And when someone comes to their legacy, they don't brush it off, they respond. And it's not just Islam Mamedov saying this. Whispers in the MMA world say other fighters from the region are also keeping tabs on Ilia. These aren't just athletes, they're warriors with something to protect. And Ilia's words have crossed the line. You can feel it in the air. Something's building. Tension is thick. And if Ilia ends up in the same arena, the same city, or even the same press conference as one of these guys, let's just say things might explode. It's not just about belt or rankings anymore, it's about respect. And Ilia, knowingly or not, has touched a nerve. So now fans are left watching two parallel dramas unfold. On one side, you've got Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall, a potential battle between the GOAT and the new king in the making. Fans are still trying to figure out if this fight is real and if Jones is actually coming back for it. And if he does, the whole MMA world will stop to watch. On the other side, you've got Ilia Topuria versus Team Khabib, which may not even happen inside the cage. It's a cultural clash, a pride clash, and a very real threat of things going way beyond MMA. And while Ilia might be laughing now, many believe he's poking a sleeping bear, and when it wakes up, it won't be pretty. And right in the middle of all that, you've got Sugar Ali trying to redeem himself, fighting tooth and nail for a win against a cardio machine in Merab. If he fails, he might leave the division entirely. So yeah, MMA right now, it's like a ticking time bomb. And it's impossible to look away. The fans are glued to every update, every tweet, every interview. Because in the next few weeks, any one of these stories could explode. Will Jones shock the world and fight Tom? Will Ilia Topuria's trash talk finally backfire in a big, dangerous way? And will Sugar finally silence the critics and show that he's more than hype? All eyes are on them, because this isn't just about who wins or loses, it's about respect, revenge, redemption, and reputation. This is the kind of drama only MMA can deliver, and honestly, we are here